Hi, I'm Danya Molak. I'm owner of Notera Capital. We specialize in investment and insurance solutions. I'm also a licensed health, life, and annuities agent, as well as a registered nurse, a medical coder, and a medical auditor with over 20 years of experience in healthcare. I've done everything from reviewing Medicare claims to doing hands-on clinical patient care. And so my background has given me a unique perspective. Over the years, I've seen what happens when long-term care planning has been neglected and when families are forced to make difficult financial and emotional decisions due to a lack of adequate LTC planning. And I've made it my mission to help people prevent unnecessary costly mistakes when it comes to their healthcare decision making. So let's jump into why think about long-term care and how that impacts families on a broader level. So first, I've got to go through here and go through my little legal disclaimer. Let's get this out of the way first. So this information is being provided only as a general source of information. It is not intended to be the primary basis for financial decisions. It should not be construed as advice designed to meet the needs of an individual situation. So the examples and or illustrations provided are not intended to be advice specific to any individual situation and are not guaranteed. So please seek the guidance of a professional regarding your specific financial needs. Always consult your tax advisor or attorney regarding specific tax advice or legal advice. Okay, so now that I've gotten that out the way, let's jump in to this. So what roles do you fill in your family? Are you the one who keeps everything and everyone on time, on track, moving forward in your family? Do you provide for the people you love emotionally, financially, physically, and spiritually? Are you or someone in your household likely to provide caring support when someone requires assistance for basic needs and either doesn't have insurance protection or can't afford help? So this is something to think about. And also caring for aging loved ones. This is no easy task. And in fact, at some point, you may step in for a spouse, parents, in-laws, friends, or even neighbors as a hands-on health provider, care manager, companion, decision maker, or advocate. And this is no easy task. In fact, unpaid caregivers give about an average of 20 hours of support each week to meet others' needs. And about 53 million U.S. adults are family assisting their older relatives, spouses, friends, neighbors with daily tasks like cooking, dressing, and that means 1 in 5 Americans is a caregiver. I know that's a shocking stat. And this does take an emotional and financial toll. 8 out of 10 people, about 79%, were not fully prepared to take on the role of a caregiver. 72% feel overwhelmed, anxious, or depressed after taking the responsibility of caring for aging loved ones. And 72% of caregivers experience financial strain due to caring for aging loved ones. So caring for an aging loved one, let's continue with this. And often there is a balancing act. As I've said, nearly 8 out of 10 were not fully prepared to take on the role of a caregiver for their aging loved ones. Almost half are part of the sandwich generation and facing the double challenge of caring for seniors, loved ones, also managing a household with kids and grandchildren. And there's a big need for support. Nearly 50% need help from a professional caregiver that could be at home or in a senior living community, but only 15% of people currently receive this support. And more than half of caregivers lack full confidence in the care they can provide. And as we know, caring for a loved one, it really does take an emotional and also a financial toll on many individuals. So caregiving equals long-term care. Now, most caregiving situations do involve the long-term care, or also known as LTC. And almost 70% of individuals aged 65 or older require some type of long-term care services in their lifetime. Individuals typically need long-term care when they experience a chronic or acute illness or injury and are not able to manage activities of daily living, also known as ADLs. ADLs commonly include tasks like bathing, dressing, eating, and caregivers also need to provide help with chores like cooking, paying bills, cleaning, and shopping, and those are known as instrumental activities of daily living. Now, have you thought about what type of care you want to receive if you have an unexpected illness or injury? Do you want to rely on your family or friends? Have you discussed this responsibility with them? Are you concerned about how you would pay for an unexpected health event? And how would that impact your retirement plans? And planning for retirement isn't just about building a nest egg. It's about safeguarding your future by addressing potential risks that could undermine financial security. Long-term care costs are one of those potential risks that frequently get overlooked. And taking the time to have this conversation now could prepare you for the unexpected. Now, there are 4 common ways to pay for LTC expenses. There's self-funding, and let's be realistic here. Few people are able to pay out of pocket dollar for dollar for all LTC expenses. So doing so can wipe out the savings that you've worked so hard to build in your lifetime. So a 65-year-old couple will need to use nearly $400,000 in savings towards, quote, standard health care in retirement. Now, this does not even include expenses for LTC. And if one of the couples has dementia, this could add another $400,000 in expenses. I mean, it's statistics are scary and shocking here. Now, there is something called a hybrid LTC coverage. Now, a hybrid LTC policy is another option. These policies are part of a life insurance or an annuity and part of a long-term coverage. Now, retirees may be able to purchase a policy with an upfront payment, and their heirs may be able to receive a death benefit if they don't need long-term care. Now, you can fund your policy numerous ways. You can use funds from your 401k, IRAs, annuities, or other existing accounts. You can choose to pay in one lump sum that would eliminate the risk of future premium increases over time. We can also customize a solution that works for you and your family. And long-term care insurance, and in many cases traditional long-term care insurance, can be expensive and hard to qualify for and viewed as a use it or lose it policy. However, with the hybrid options, they are not use it or lose it. So let's look at some other common ways to pay for LTC expenses. Government programs. Now, a common and often costly misconception is that Medicare covers the cost of long-term care services and supports. Now, Medicare, including Medigap, generally does not cover most long-term care services, particularly when it comes to custodial care. Now, Medicare may cover short-term skilled nursing and rehabilitative services under special circumstances. Medicaid, which is for low-income individuals, requires meeting financial criteria and including limits on income and assets so that they may be spent down during their assets first. Now, there is a 5-year look back for those attempting to gift or spend down assets to qualify. So you can't secretly give something to your child a year before. Their government will look down upon that and would not be able to allow you to access those funds. So let's look at what can impact LTC costs here. So higher demand. As our population ages, demand for long-term care services increases. Higher demand leads to higher costs. There's also the longer lifespans. Advances in medical technology are helping us live longer. But as access to these new technology increases, so do the costs to use them. Family dynamics. Most families or parents do not want their children putting their lives on hold to provide care. And if they did, will the care responsibilities be spread out equally amongst children? Probably not. Government. Which of today's programs will be available? Will qualify. How? And as we discussed, Medicare does not cover LTC under most circumstances. And here's the big issue is Alzheimer's, which is a degenerative disease that impacts memory and other mental functions. And currently there's no cure, and the disease requires long-term care services for an extended period. In fact, 6.7 million Americans 65 or over have Alzheimer's disease, and this was as of 2023, which is basically 1 in 9 people above 65. I know, these are scary statistics. And by 2050, it's projected that 12.7 million people 65 plus will be living with Alzheimer's. So knowing these statistics, let's look at some other numbers here. Let's look at how much does LTC care cost monthly. So understanding the median cost is today the first step in helping you plan for your future. Preparing well before you need care can help you avoid financial stress and the emotional strain of getting the necessary care. Just to give you an idea, the monthly national income monthly national median cost of care for 2026 for an assisted living was $5,005, which is quite expensive for most people. If you look at the nursing home, the national median is over $10,000. Now, I've broken down the statistics here for the state of Virginia, and I've also included some projections here. And I've chosen Fairfax County, again, because that's one of the highest income counties here in the state of Virginia. And as we can see, for home health care for 2026, over $6,000 per month in Fairfax. Assisted living for 2026, again, over $6,000. Now look at the nursing home there for 2026. $14,000 plus is what you could estimate to pay here in Fairfax, Virginia. Now, let's go out and project a little bit further. Now, let's go out 10 years. Now, if you look at Fairfax for home health care, $8,000 for 2036. Assisted living for 2036 for Fairfax, over $8,000 again. And then look at that for 2036 for nursing home. Again, $18,500 for Fairfax. So these are some really realistic numbers, scary numbers when you look at this. But it gives you an idea of what to expect and how to plan for your future. So what can you do? As you or your loved ones continue to age, their health may decline, and planning ahead allows you to prepare for these costs before you need them. I hope that aging family members have prepared for their health, financial, and long-term care needs, but let's be real, and the reality is that most people haven't. Most people do not like to talk about this topic and sort of want to kick the can down the road. But by discussing long-term care in advance, you and your loved ones can prepare if need arises. And while talking about sensitive subjects like this, like long-term care and end-of-life planning, is not easy, it is a necessary conversation that must happen. So protecting yourself. Now, there are options. Long-term care protection can help you protect from the rising costs of LTC. And at the same time, it gives you freedom to choose the kind of LTC services that you want when you need it. You're taking the steps now to understand and prepare so you can better control your care choices later on. And by arranging LTC protection, you can stay on track and protect your savings and retirement accounts. So protecting the ones you love. Think about others in your life who could benefit from long-term care protection. Your parents, spouse, siblings, or children. Who else in your life may need this type of security and protection? A proactive way to make choices before needing long-term care services. Long-term care situations can put stress and strain on important relationships. And by the same token, LTC protection can help alleviate financial and emotional stress and protect these important relationships. So let's dive a little bit deeper. LTC protection. So perhaps you know someone who has been in one of these situations and how their lives have been impacted by long-term care situations. So say a wife had to put her thriving career on hold to care for her aging parent, a daughter that visits her aging parents daily to cook and clean, a mother helps her son recover from a car accident. Having LTC protection can help pay for a home health aid, rehabilitation facilities, assisted living, and nursing home coverage. The care and services that are needed can be there to meet everyone's needs. So let's look at some options here. Okay, so with long-term care product in your overall financial strategy, you can help protect yourself and your loved ones, your retirement, and your legacy, and the benefits are many. There are new options that are available in traditional long-term care insurance. Now there is retirement income potential. So say you have an annuity which provides long-term care benefits when you need them and retirement income payments when you don't. Premium grows at a tax-deferred basis, which means you get to kick the can down the road in terms of when you pay your taxes. Now, traditional long-term care insurance, there is no income potential, but you may help manage retirement expenses by providing payments for long-term care services. Now, approval for coverage. Now, with a hybrid policy, underwriting is generally simplified and more applicants are approved in underwriting, and some insurers even guarantee approval for long-term care benefits. Now, with a traditional long-term care insurance, underwriting is quite stringent, and with approval rates lower than for hybrid annuity LTC policies. And in my prior career, I also did some of those long-term care assessments for insurers as well. And yes, the underwriting is very stringent for those. Now, with tax-free payments on benefits. Now, some benefit payments are tax-free and are subject to IRS daily maximums. And death benefits, in terms of your hybrid policies, most annuities and life insurance policies have a death benefit built into the contract. Traditional long-term care insurance is use it or lose it. Simplified underwriting, some corporate carriers use a video. And the death benefit with traditional long-term care, as we've said, is use it or lose it. And that is not the case with new options that are available. If you don't use LTC benefits, you can leave a death benefit for your chosen beneficiary. And that allows you to optimize in terms of your beneficiary status. You have the option to have your long-term care benefits pay your entire lifetime. So look at some of the tax advantages of this. You can fund your policy in multiple ways, including IRAs, 401k money, mutual funds, cash, existing annuities, annual premiums, or existing life insurance. Now, some products you can fund with qualified money, again, which would be IRAs, 401ks, and 403bs, that you have not paid taxes on when you invested it. Taxes are deferred on gains, and LTC benefits are tax-free when used for qualified LTC expenses and are subject to daily IRS maximums. Now, there is a triple advantage of this. Now, some annuities and life insurance products can be funded with pre-tax dollars, qualified, like an IRA or 401k, for example. Qualified plans allow tax-deferred growth. The Pension Protection Act makes gains tax-free if used for LTC qualified expenses. And also there's a 1035 exchange, which is a provision in the IRS code allowing for a tax-free transfer of an existing annuity contract, life insurance policy, long-term care product, or endowment for basically a like-for-like exchange. The rules vary for different insurance carriers, but a full or partial 1035 exchange is allowed. So, we're wrapping it up here. So let me help tailor a plan for you. Annuities and life insurance with LTC riders can help protect you and your loved ones and your legacy. So I'd love to set up an appointment so we can discuss this further and get a plan in motion. And we want to do this as soon as possible for anything untoward strikes, any tragedy strikes. The best time to plan is when everything is calm. So here's my contact information. To schedule an appointment with me, my name's Danya Moloch, and again, I'm with Notera Capital. You can give me a call at 540-992-0332. You can email me at dmoloch@notera.com. And you can also visit my personal website at https://donyamolock.com. And it was great speaking with you today, and I'm looking forward to working with you today. Let's get this LTC planning started.